Thank you for joining us. I'm Paul Wilson.
And I'm Chris Emke.
And this is Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, we got an awesome episode lined up
Really
for
pumped.
you today.
Really pumped.
This is one of those, if you're anywhere around the diesel performance industry and social media at the same time, you're going to know who Derek Rose is.
Yeah.
We've had him on the show many times. He's been a UCC champion. He's been a UCC competitor.
Business owner, ODSS extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And last weekend he broke some records.
Yeah, a big record by a lot.
I think he broke his record after breaking it like back to back.
That's
It
it.
was super cool.
Yeah. So we're really excited to talk with him. You guys will be hearing from him in just a moment. Before we jump in, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. I think we'll do it pretty quick here this week, Chris. Calibrated Power Duramax Tuner. That's where we work.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it. You guys should definitely shop with Calibrated Power and Duramax Tuner. We have awesome products, parts, and services.
Exergy Performance, your one-stop shop for anything common rail injection, whether it's CP3, injectors, rails, lines, regulators, and everything in between, and fuel additive.
That's right. Absolutely. Of course, WC Fab has been with us since the beginning. We love the guys over at WC Fab. That's where we get all of our intake horns, intercooler pipes, powder coating services, anything that WC Fab offers, we're likely a consumer of.
Yeah. And then last but not least, XDP. XDP is a one-stop shop for anything diesel related, whether it's performance, maintenance, swag. They have everything you could possibly think of. I know I've been in this industry a long time. I've used XDP prior to working for us, and then we work with them, of course. So if you guys are, in the market for anything diesel related, check those guys out. They definitely be glad to help.
Absolutely. Hey, we don't want to hold you around any longer. Let's talk to Derek Rose.
All the good shit talking boys, everyone's retired and went and did other stuff. So whatever.
Guys, you're hearing us. We're talking with Derek Rose, who just recently set a new record in diesel. Give us the rundown. It's 444 at 171 miles an hour. It's fucking fast.
In a four-wheel drive truck?
In a four-wheel drive truck, nonetheless. Derek, give us a rundown, man. What's the setup? What's the truck that you ran it with? What did it feel like to go down the track at that speed?
Yeah, so it's been the same truck for, I think I had a Facebook memory, I think we brought it out 9.5 years ago is when, we've been started working on it. And it's just been a evolving nightmare that finally we put everything, all the years of, the trials and tribulations of just, getting our nuts kicked, finally took all last year off and put everything, just been building this plan and put the truck on a big diet and took everything that we knew that worked and pretty much kind of perfected that, left some stuff alone and just built one hell of a recipe to pretty much destroy the old, the four-wheel drive diesel record. We didn't just beat it. We put it deep. So it's, we went 444 at 171 miles an hour and something that's not supposed to go that fast.
Now, in the past, you've done different things with engines. I know you work with Freedom Racing on the long block. What did you do differently this year, or what's that recipe look like going into 22?
So Freedom, the billet block thing was back 17, 18. Everyone was doing their billet blocks. We had the OG billet, common rail 12 valve, first ever, right back in 17. That didn't go well, not because of the block or anything else, but I don't think we were there technology, we didn't have the ECU control that we have now. Bosch was just starting to come in, it was super expensive, so I don't think we were ready for that. And then Freedom pretty much took, that time from when I started working on that billet block, which is an LSM/Scheid block, took a lot of that technology and put their own little twist on it and developed that, essentially our long block or our block that we have now, and just made it's like a brick shit house. It's, it's solid. It's a little heavier than what the production one's going to be, but it's just, solid. And then we took a lot of our old stuff that we already had. I had a D&J front triple pump cover that's been on since 2017. I got a head from Wagler back a couple of years ago. It's just been sitting on the shelf. So a lot of that stuff we just kind of were preparing to do it. And then we worked our ass off on the engine dyno with the right piston and the right injector combo. And then with the new Motec system, like it's almost easy, but it's not, but because we just, there's so much time that went into it before. We're making it look easy, but it wasn't. It was an expensive learning curve.
Yeah, the overnight success that was 9 years in the making, right?
So
I would say the past couple of years, the past 2-3 years, we've been trying to get this mentality of, the right piston, the right ring stack, and then the right injector. And then trying to shift our momentum towards like gas stuff. Like we've always, diesel guys were always making power down low, always just grunting it, getting that torque. Well, torque, we break everything. You're bringing your shift down below 4,000 and everything's breaking. So you can see us like we're spinning. Some of the Duramax guys, they've been spinning them north of $6,000, but us Cummins guys, we're struggling that 55 or 6,000 mark. Like that's about, with common rail, that's about where we're at. Some guys I know are going a little bit higher, but we're making really good power from, let's just say 48 to 58, just, tapping 6,000 RPM, which is, it's showing, it's paying off. So making the power that high, well, you got to have a big shot of fuel, from the injector to get it in at the right time. You don't want to be running, 2,000, US duration, and it doesn't work. We've been there. We learned it doesn't work.
So that was going to be my next thing. I've seen Lenny Reed. I've seen a couple other guys in your camp talking about the injectors, and you're dealing with Dynamite Diesel on injectors in the motor now. What's been some of that background working with Lenny, developing the injector and getting it to where it's at currently?
Just a lot, testament to a lot of it has to go with, honestly, with Chase Fleece. So he does a lot of, Chase kind of used to be in the limelight years ago. He kind of just, does his own thing at a shop now, living, just doing a lot of pulling engines. He doesn't do a lot of drag stuff, but he just kind of keeps to himself and, has been doing a ton of testing with Lenny over the years on, big sled pull and stuff. And he's got it dialed. And then when we come around this go around, we kind of knew what we wanted. And just, like we were on the dyno with my old set of injectors. That's what we started. Like I told Lenny, just refresh them. They work great. Well, we got on the dyno and we just started playing with, our new RPM curve, how, what we were having to do with timing and then duration just to get where we wanted to be. And we're like, hey, we need this. And no bullshit. 3 days later, we had this, which is in the truck now. And because, with DDP, they have the ability, Lenny can take a blank nozzle and put the holes anywhere you want, any size you want, and then, put it right through a shop and send us an injector like that quick. You know what I mean? And
that's awesome.
Not saying they can do it 3 days for everybody else, but, we had the motor on the dyno and we're like, hey, and literally they hit the nail on the head. And to be honest with you, like there's still room, like that injector still has room to go bigger, but for what we're doing and the fuel quantity that we need to make the power, like, it's there. The results kind of showed it last weekend. Like we had EGTs, like I think the hottest with hardly any nitrous, we've seen like 1750, 1780, which that was just like a hardly any nitrous pass, just leaning in it, no converter lockup, which is going to run warmer. But then once we started to lean in it, we were like 1650-ish, with no water injection. This was just straight, just air and fuel with a really good air fuel ratio. And it was sweet.
That's awesome, cool. Because this is one of those too where Derek, I think I remember most of like you going to UCC and hitting the big numbers on the dyno. Always had great fast times, not to take anything away from that, but when I think about like setting records or like going out there and really being somebody that we know to make huge power, you're definitely a name that comes into play. After this pass, where would you estimate the horsepower is at on the build?
So drag racing world pretty much uses for what we found is the best, and even diesel stuff's a little skewed, but we're pretty much using mile an hour and weight is pretty close about, so give or take. So we were just a touch under 4,100 pounds. Like we're figuring I think we were like 4,080 to 4,100 is what we come up with to be at the event. So it's about 3,200 flywheel is where we were at. And I think just shy, like 2,900 to the tires where we were thinking.
That's so
insane.
Crazy.
The thing is you cut out the dyno, like the dyno reads high, the dyno doesn't read high. You have a truck, it weighs this, you can't hide that. You run a time, it traps the speed it traps and the time that it does. This is data that you just can't take away from someone. It's cold, hard facts.
Yeah.
Oh, and like last year, so or not last year, because I took last year off. The year before, we had one of the heavyweights in the class. We were running 4850 to 4950 pounds. We'd actually put 100 pounds of ballast on the rear because we try to get the ass end to plant a little bit better, especially when I did the no prep stuff. And 149 miles an hour at 4,900 pounds, we were using about 24 to 2,500 flywheel. So that just gives you a realm of where we're at now with what we learned, what we took what we know, what we learned and applied it. And it's happy. Like there wasn't going through all the data. Like I kept at run after run, I come back and look at the logs and I'm like, God damn, everything's perfect. What's wrong?
Do you think that the year off got you to this point? You think that year off was a smart move for you?
Yeah. I mean, it took, because as racing, I'm sure you guys know, like we kind of just like boom, 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 boom. And sometimes you don't really slow down to look what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? And I think that was, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do with the Motec, like Ben, my buddy Ben Shaddy and a couple other guys, SNS, developed. The Motec's always been around forever, but they basically pushed the Cummins platform into the Motec. So SNS has been developing that, they did all the back end work. So Ben, I think, was one of the first guys that got into it along with, drawing a blank from Rudy's, Nathaniel from Rudy's. So they got the Motec on the 6.4. I think they got them on both their Pro Mod and the 4-wheel drive. So great success with those. And then we already knew what the Bosch could do. I never used it, but competitors were, just being able to leave the line at 1,500 horsepower and then just ramping fuel rate in, all this cool stuff. So the Motec was a huge cost, but it was also a huge stepping stone into being able to, you've seen us running down the track. It was clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was.
We had air fuel ratios. We were running like 33, 34 out there. And she was lean, but it was lovely.
That's awesome. Do that.
So I don't know. And then, we changed some transmission stuff around, but I would say the time off, we had some business stuff we had to take care of, and then a little bit of growth, restructure of that. And then, but mainly, I would say since last August, I've been grinding. Like, not everyone sees the grind that it takes to make it happen. And it's, come on, calling to LJ and Chase, once a week, like, hey, where's the block at? Did we get it through the machine? And they're like, we're busy. And I get it. This stuff for any big company doesn't make any money, right? Like, it's just hard. And they're like, we're trying, we got to get on this machine. And I'm like, just begging. I'm like, all you got to do, just slap your pistons in there, like get it to a point and get it to me, because I had so much work to do to get the motor dressed, get it fit in the truck. Cause me and Dylan, we moved our mid plate. We cut the whole front of the truck off. We did so much shit. And I'm like, you guys don't realize how much stuff I have to do just to make sure the motor will work, everything. And I didn't want to base it on an engine that we weren't going to use, even though everything was going to be close. I'm like, no, I'm doing this one time. So there was just so much back end work that, like, I don't want to go back there again for a while. You know what I mean? Like, doing all that.
Not to take anything away from what happened last weekend, but like, you have the data that you have. What's next? Like, where do you see the 4-wheel drive platform going? Your truck specifically.
I think for like the industry as a whole, like I'm buddies with everyone. I try to get along with everyone as much as I can. But the big players in the industry, let's just say Firepunk, they're up there. They're number one. Everyone's chasing them, and we shocked them. We shocked a lot of people. You know what I mean? And as far as where 4-wheel drive stuff can go, I don't know. I think the trucks can go fast if you have the right power and the right transmission behind it. And like if we're using 3,000 north, or 3,000 plus, like there ain't too many people that are up there. I'll be honest with you. Like, Ben in this car, like he was probably, to run that pass when me and him went, he was probably using 2,400 ish horsepower, 25. So we took, we're using 700 more to go that fast. Like, that's a lot.
Well, you think of 700 horsepower in like a street truck, like that's a potent street truck or a potent tow truck or however you want to look at it. And it's that much more.
Right. That's the gap between you and the guy in the lane next to you. Now, you're in UCC this year, right?
Unfortunately, like it comes to like, between me, you and the fence post, now it's going to be international. Like, there's not even a certification, like the truck, like we're kind of outcerted, you know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do? Like at the end of the day, like me and Dylan were talking like, shit, do we just build a new 4-wheel drive Pro Mod? I don't know. I mean, that sounds dumb. Like, well, that sounded dumb, right? Like 4-wheel drive Pro Mod sounded real dumb this, like about last week, Monday.
Now it's a thing.
So, I don't know. It just seems like the guys struggle with, especially when we go ODSS racing, everyone struggles sticking the back tires. The tracks they're good, but they're not, there's so much other traffic on them from 670 guys to 770 ET. Like, they do the best they can. And I think that a lot of the Pro Mod guys, they struggle. They struggle on getting the power down to the ground. And obviously we don't with, we have all-wheel drive. So moving forward, I don't know, man. I know we got a lot left in the tank. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, that was our first time out. And I had people like just poking me like, come on, press the buttons. Because literally once me and Ryan, we spent all day Wednesday doing all the back end stuff, finishing, making sure all the solenoids were going to hit. Like, I was like, going over all the tables, the air shifter, you name it, like all that back end stuff, trying to make sure that all your controls are going to do what they want. And then finally we got to a point, all right, like it looks good. And so we got pretty much the whole weekend, Ryan would help me a little bit. Then he's like making me drive on the laptop. And, I haven't really spent much time doing on the Motec. Man, was it cool. Like, it's just, it was really cool. Like, just the way we can ramp fuel in, we can watch Lamba and just keep, try to keep that air fuel ratio clean, watch when it drops, know that we have to add in. It's almost like cheating. I'm not going to lie. It's like, wow, this is real. It's going to change the game.
Yeah. This is how it's supposed to work, right?
Right.
You get so used to, like, we've all been like hacking and trying to figure out how to fix the OEM fuck ups in ECMs that now when you have a standalone like this, you're right. It's writing your own program, right? Of this is what you want it to do. You're in UCC this year, is that right?
Yep.
Awesome. What's your expectation? Are you going to call yourself out to be the reigning champ?
What's that?
UCC this year. Are you predicting yourself first place? Are you going to call it out right now?
I don't know. I've been trying. So, like, as you guys know, I kind of been internet shit talker king for a while, and I kind of been laying low on that stuff. Like some, like this Chris Patterson deal. Like, I didn't even really mean to call him out as bad as I did back in the day. Like, I was just joking around. But some people have feelings, I guess. I don't have feelings, but so I don't know. I just kind of been like trying to take a little bit different of approach, honestly, on, the shit talking and calling people out. Cause like,
well, you have a whole group that's doing it for you now.
Yeah. I mean, like get to that level where, I got a ton of respect for like, a guy like Levon Miller. He's just soft spoken and speaks really well. And, is really, really looked up to in the industry. So I think that's where I'm trying to move towards that level instead of, poking the bear kind of a guy.
Sure.
Because at a point it was, but we could do it like, I could call out Dimitri or call out Baca. I sent a little text like, hey, dude, I'm going to talk some shit. We're going to be all right. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But now the world's changed a little bit. So I think you don't want to get into too many inner feels of people. But I still got some buddies out there we can, talk smack with and probably just leave it a little bit on the lower side. But I think I'm just going to put my head down and let the truck do the talking and let the work that, my whole group is put in, let that kind of, put us on the map.
Do you think you'll break the 3,000 horsepower at UCC? We've been chasing it since UCC moved to Indy. We've been talking about it. Do you think this is the year?
I don't know. Like, I know what I did, the past couple of years to put that power down, like to throw 2,500. Jesus, Jiminy. Like, I said I didn't want to do it again, but the way the new setup is, I know we're making the power. I would say if we crack 2,800 ish with the new setup, I think that would be really good. If we crack any more, I don't know. I know we're making 300 horse on fuel more than we were before. So I know that for a fact. What I don't know is I got a turbo 400 variable that I didn't use before. And then we have, I got SCS transfer case. I got all these variables that I didn't use before. And then I also have a really smart ECU. So you see us like, black smoke, like we, get the truck going. I bring it back nitrous. Like I think we're going to get away from our comfort zone and we're going to try to let the computer, do the work and see if it'll work. So I'm really nervous about that, but we're going to spend a little time on a hub dyno here in 2 weeks and see how it reacts. So I'm putting in the work. I'm not going to predict a win, lose, or draw. All I know is I'm putting in the work. I put the money where it needed to be spent, and I'm going to go there hopefully more prepared than anyone else. And then if that's the case, then, we should be on top.
Yeah, I mean, coming back, it's a very competitive field. I mean, Ziegler went away with the win last year, but Tyler Burkhart was
right on his
nipping
ass.
right at his heels. Yeah, he was right there. There's several others. Everybody like top 5, top 6 were really right on top of each other. And we also had some of you guys who historically have kind of owned the UCC competition all step back last year. So we didn't have you, we didn't have Levon, we didn't have Baca last year competing. So that kind of left some questions about like who's going to really own this field. And now that it's kind of a Duramax and Cummins game, right?
Unfortunately.
Right. That's just what we have at UCC. I think it's going to be interesting. Everybody has been kind of ramping up and watching this. I know we're all following Patterson. Talking about 3,000 horsepower, making it on the dyno. It's still a big truck. It's still got to go down the track. It's still got a sled pull. So we'll see what those things look like.
I mean, 2 very different trucks, at the end of the day, right? Like a purpose-built race truck and not to, take anything away from Chris Patterson, but a purpose-built, dyno truck, I feel.
Yeah, well, it's a ridiculous street truck, right? So, like, seeing it compete at UCC, I think will be interesting. Where do you think your advantage is at the competition? What do you think, besides the preparation, is there something about your build or about your truck that you really think puts it miles ahead of where everyone else is at?
Well, they changed the format this year, right? So they went to a 2-truck format, which some people love, hate it. I'm not a huge fan of it, being, the original thing was, 1 truck, 1 event. But the concept of drawing there's more drag trucks out there that, want to go drag racing and dynoing to try to get more people instead of the same 20 people or same 25 guys, and a lot of them have dropped out because they got burnt out. Right. So I like the concept. I just don't know how it's going to play out with how the fans are going to react. I would say our biggest advantage is experience. I went to the very first one. We were sitting second place then until they decided, well, we're going to have a second pole. Because the track sucked. Fuck, my motor's blown up. So that didn't work out. So, we went like 5-2-2-2 because I got second to LeBron like 3 years in a row, and then won. And then I took that last year off after COVID. So I think just experience. And then the truck, I don't know, like every year we've got our ass handed to us on the drag strip. Like we've done well, but like I had to take a drag truck and sucked on the drag strip every year. So I would say that's probably my only real goal is to go out there and just murder the drag strip. Like I'm like what we did last weekend. Like I want to do that and just put it like whoever goes, whatever, let's say Ziegler goes a 480. I want to go a 470 or 460. You know what I mean? And just
have you had this much preparation ahead of UCC in years past, or?
I would say in 2019, the year I won it, I was pretty prepared. I mean, me and Dylan, we had the truck pretty well done, ready to rip. Like we did, we drove out to Denver to do the ATS challenge at the end of February. So we did that, and we blew the motor up, and then went to Fleece and fixed it, put in a spare engine, went down to Ryan's, it beat the shit out of it, and ended up running, I think, a bunch of 4 or 520s. Like, we were prepared. We already had a good sled pull. So I would say in 2019, I almost feel like I was a bit more prepared, but after last weekend, I feel I'm real close. I'm not 100% happy with our racing program yet after last weekend. There's a lot of little things that going this fast that we need to address and change to get a little more dialed. So like it's on a different level. Like, I mean, we went 171 miles an hour. Like, I think Firepunk's only been like 174. You know what I mean? Like, we went fucking fast. Like, and it still hasn't even hit. It still honestly hasn't even really hit me yet. Like how fast we went. And I think there's more left, but I don't think anyone's going to see that. Or I'll just tell everyone right now, like, that won't happen probably till summer to late fall again. We're going to go a bit backwards and work on the front of the track a little bit more, because really all we can do, like, I can apply more power, but if we can't apply that power for the first 300 foot, it's really not going to make that much difference towards the back end of the track. Like, yeah, we can mile an hour like a son of a bitch, but do we really want to, add another 200 horse on the big end? And when it's, we can do that. If we can get it to the ground in the first 300, it's going to make a lot bigger of a difference. But we did make a $1,000 bet with Levon that we would run 39 this year. So we got to do that. He's like, I'd pay to do it. So.
Challenge accepted, sir.
Derek loves a good challenge. Didn't last year, didn't you throw out a challenge, $10,000 to anybody who could beat your dyno number?
Yeah, I think so.
Nobody took you up on it though, right?
It was 10. It was probably a couple.
I told everybody it was 10.
I think it was 5 and you doubled it being a
sure,
dick.
That sounds like yeah.
Me and Justin Ziegler have a bet. I think it's 2,000 or 2,000 on the overall, and then like some thousand of pucks an event that I wax them every event. So we have that. It was a pretty drunken deal.
5 minutes ago, you told us you were taking a step back from shit talking.
Keep it silent. Let the truck beat for
right,
itself.
That's right. And then rub it in their
got
face
2,000 on your head and 1,000 every event.
So I just want to go there and, well, it is what it is. Everybody knows, who has their favorite or whatever. Like, I think the person that has the most pressure on them drives a green dually, because that is, they put up what I would call a really big number. So that's, I just hope that I just want to meet what we did, a couple of years ago and maybe do a little bit better. 3,000, I don't know, man. It's just that flipping dyno is just tough.
Well, the thing with Patterson, right, with the green dually, is he made the power, right? Like it made that power on a dyno. The dyno, there's been question, okay, there's no secret in this conversation, but the power had never been backed up at a track to say, hey, this is what it's doing.
Yeah, real world application.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So there is going to be a lot of pressure.
Exactly. And back in the day, like, we were doing, last year we hit 2,500 or 2019 on the dyno, 25 something. And we were using about 24-ish going down the track. Like, I knew we were close, but I knew also I probably used 300-400 extra, maybe 5 extra horsepower on the dyno, worth of nitrous just to get it to go. So I don't know, like he's got a lot riding on his shoulders to try to get that number. Like it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough deal for everybody. That dyno it'll bite you.
Well, I guess that's one of the things about UCC that I like that's so unique about the event, is that if you show up, and let's say for you go out, you murder it at the track, you could go home really happy.
Yeah.
If you do okay on the dyno and the sled pull, right? Like you still have to do decent on those other events. If you go to the dyno and you blow up pulling up on the ramp and you don't get to do anything else for the rest of the weekend, murdering it on the track's not going to feel like such a victory.
Right.
And I think Patterson, and we'll talk to him about this as well going into UCC, it's one of those that if he goes out and he crushes the dyno, but he absolutely flops everywhere else, the truck being what it is, I feel like he still gets to go home and call it a win.
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
It is, so what does
there's
that pressure
different
look
goals
like?
for
What
different
is that
individuals
pressure?
going to this event, I
Yeah,
feel.
it's not everybody's going for the trophy.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. They have their own personal goals going to the event. Like my personal goal is like I want to crush it on the drag strip. I think we'll lean on it just hard enough to not break it. And same on the engine dyno or on the chassis dyno. Like I'll tell you straight up, and everyone that's listening, and even on the internet, like I'm going there to try to win the event and not blow my shit up, because I really enjoyed last weekend. I haven't had that, I don't think, ever. Like I enjoyed it. We went 8 perfect passes, and I want to go race in the summer, and do other stuff, do some street stuff. I got a chance, hopefully, to maybe get back doing some of the no prep stuff with like the Detroit guys from Street Outlaws. So I'd like to, I got a bigger vision than just doing UCC, and I already told myself, like, if we weren't prepared, we just wouldn't go. Like I honestly been there, did that. Like we did it, we won, it was cool. I'll go back. I really would like, I really want to go have some fun, but it's not as important to me as it once was. Like I really want to, look at the, my phone has been on fire since like last week and the weekend. Like I got shared. I mean, it's been really cool and a lot of good positive feedback from the industry. So I kind of want to just build up on that and do what we can at UCC, taking what we've done in the past and just trying to do that a little bit better. And whatever happens. I'll be good with it.
Very good.
That's the chillest response I've ever heard to somebody who's sitting on 2,900 horsepower. Derek, thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to just probably going to throw the old lady out there first. Like she's been, like the past month or month and a half, like I didn't come home a lot at night at all. And I'm like, she's like, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, well, I'm going to shop. She's like, all right, just do it, get it done. So she's been there probably the most, like taking care of the kids. I mean, we got a business and a couple kids and a dog and all bullshit, so probably her first and foremost. BD Diesel, been the longest running, sponsor of mine. We don't have many of their parts on the truck anymore, but we try to, represent them well, just as a sponsor. They help us out with some money, some travel. Like we just try to represent them as well as we can. The guys down at Fleece and Freedom, we're like family. I mean, I go down there. I stay at one of my buddies' houses. I'll be there for a week on end. They've been really good to me. So we're trying to, just give them as much love as we can. And their phones have been on fire since last weekend. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, when can I order that block? And they're like, close. My boy, Ryan at Hardway, like he's, been true to me for a while on tuning, and it's been good. And I really feel, like we spent a lot of time together, and I feel like he's kind of given me the nudge to, I have the capability now to tune the truck. So it's really cool. So, but I'll be asking for help, like I don't, I'm not going to be belittled because I want to ask somebody what they think, or, you know what I mean? Especially with guys with that much experience. Diamond and Trend been a long time sponsor. We got a lot of their hardware in the engine. I got some other local guys, like Richard's Auto Parts has been pretty big, helping us out with nitrous. Solution Steel Treating, just another kind of cash sponsored, helps us out, gets to the races. Dynamite Diesel, been huge. Lenny's been great. Like I'm like, hey, I need this. And he's like, it's there the next day kind of a deal. It's been super good. Then my shop, the guys at the shop just, killing it, helping, like paying the bills, and helping fund the race trip. Shit. I don't know. Family. I don't know. I think I got a good one. Wish I was looking at the truck. Let's see. I think the guys at SNS, I'm not SNS fueled anymore. Like, we were back in the day, but it's been good. They always been good to me with Motec. They treated me really well doing the Motec. So, hands off to those guys. Like, they're really good to work with. I think it's, there's a lot of politics in this game, especially when you get to this level. I don't want to say I'm on a different level than anyone else, but like, it's just when you get to this level, there's the industry's only so big. So like, you kind of got to tiptoe around a little bit because, just because you're using somebody's injector, well, somebody else might have this. So you got to just kind of, it's a delicate balance on on just trying to keep everyone happy. And that's all it is, because at the end of the day, like if I need help, I'm going over, I'll ask the guys at Fire Punk, you know what I mean? Like the only reason that damn S10 kicked my ass the last race, because I gave them a brake pad for the front of their, front of the truck that there was metal on metal, you know what I mean? So it's just trying to be cool and stay on everyone's good side. And cause you never know when you're gonna need a favor. Hot Shot Secrets. Can't forget that. So they've been helping. And then just some buddies, like my buddy Ben Chatty, like he's been really good. Like been helping me with the new Rossler transmission and helping me on Motec tips. So there's a lot of good people that really go into it.
That's awesome, man.
Very good.
Well, hey, we really appreciate you joining us and kind of letting our listeners get this inside scoop. We're excited to see you at UCC, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, guys. I appreciate the time tonight.
Yeah.
Guys, listeners, if you want to find out more about UCC, Ultimate Callout Challenge, and what else we have going on, make sure you jump over to Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast Facebook group, and we'll have some details coming out there real soon. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, my name is Jeremy Garnett. I'm going to bring you to the Super Tech segment of the podcast this week. Bring you another LML. It's another CP4 failure. But this one's going to be a little different. We're going to be doing a CP3 conversion on it, which is a 50-state legal kit from S&S. So I want to show you a little bit of the difference between the CP4 and the CP3 that we're going to be putting on it. Again, the regulator's in a little bit different position. The lines are a little bit different, and just want to show you. So we're going to put these lines here that actually come in the kit. And then we're gonna replace the gear that actually comes on it. So that's what I really want to get into, is because from a tech point, just show you that it's a little bit harder than just putting a new one in. So we got to remove the pulley on this one, and then we actually got to put it on this one. But we're going to be using a different bracket. So what you want to be careful with is not ruining the bracket and not ruining the pulley, and it doesn't have to be lined up. So we're going to take this one here, like I was saying, we got to remove this pulley here, okay, and then we're going to install it on this one. This is the CP3, again this is a CP4. Here's the bracket that we put on for the conversion. So a CP3 is a little bit different on like an LB7, LBZ, and it's geared, okay, as in when I mean geared, it's timed. When it's timed, the gear is differently, so I actually have to make sure that I take this off. When I take it off, I have to time it properly on this truck, just like you would a CP4. So I'll put this on, and then I will hold this with a spanner wrench and a gear properly, because you don't want to hurt the actual gear itself or the mesh of it, because it's gear to gear driven. So that's what I'll be doing on this portion. And then once I install it, I'll actually have to install the new lines as well, and then relocate that fuel temperature sensor. Doing this job, it's just really a basic set of tools, wrenches and plier tools, stuff like that. Just like doing a CP4 job or even a CP3 job, it's pretty self-explanatory. It takes time. It's about 20, almost 30 hours to do a job. Something that I'm going to be looking out for this job is clearance, just because it is a legal truck, so it still has the EGR, it still has the cooler on it. I want to make sure my new lines are not going to rub. I want to make sure the regulator is going to clear, and also the fuel temperature sensor that has to be relocated is going to clear. Those are going to be the things that I'm going to be looking out for this job to do it. And then this truck also has a FAS on it, so I want to make sure the FAS is going to work properly, so the CP3 actually gets bled properly. Because I want to make sure that I don't have any leaks and I don't suck any air. Those are going to be the main things that I'm going to be looking for to do this job. All right, guys, I'll be checking with you next week and let you know how it all went and try to do something different.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Everyone's got feelings and shit.
Yeah,
so, like,
good.